Hey, Chrissy, you're muted. Okay.
Hey, sis, how you doing tonight?
Good. At least today's a little bit better and less chaotic than it was yesterday.
Yeah, Mondays are always like that, This is, I hate Mondays, but
There's never enough time in the day, I feel.
that is for sure. But tonight's guest, it's going to lighten us up because they're from New Jersey. I love my East Coast peeps, Tell you about that. So let me just go ahead and introduce tonight's guest for you. Barry Ruggiero is the founder of New Jersey Paranormal Investigation, where he has dedicated over 23 years to exploring the paranormal. His journey began after a profound experience in Gettysburg, where he was mentored by Dave Juliano, whose methods continue to guide his investigations today. Initially, focus on case studies of historical sites, Barry expanded his vision by creating Paranormal Cares, a collaborative initiative that invites other paranormal groups to co-host events. These ghost hunting fundraising benefits local charities and fostering community support while exploring the unknown. Barry's expertise has garnered recognition with features in the Asbury Park Press and the New Jersey Star-Ledger, as well as an appearance on Philly 17 morning show investigating Fort Mifflin. His current research delves into how emotions transform into energy, influence on experience of hauntings. This exploration was inspired by his personal journey following his mother's passing, leading him to understand that the energy we experience is a manifest of pure emotions existing in its natural form of electromagnetic energy. So, to further ado,
Wow.
this day, Barry.
Hi, how are you? Thank you, Krista and Red, for having me on. I appreciate it. I wasn't sure if I should call you Red or because it says medium red, and I'm like, I don't know if I.
Yeah, you can call me Red. I mean, obviously, that's how. That's the reason why I'm called.
I stumbled over that. I was like, can I call her Red?
Yeah.
Her friends call her Red. Yeah, and you're a friend now of hers, so you can call her Red.
That's
right. And you might be, I have my son in the background who's watching stuff. It's Brennan. It's just friends of mine. He has special needs, so he'll talk at times, but he's on the side.
Nope, that's fine. We're very laid back, very raw and real.
I don't get into, I don't get into all the, like I said, to people say to me, and you can see tonight, they laugh when they meet me at whatever. And we're at a ghost hunt, and they're like, I said, yeah, I'm not the guy in the black shirt with his arms like he's running into a fire. I crack jokes. I find things funny. I said, to me, part of the paranormal is the human experience.
Right.
On both ends, on the physical end and whatever is after this. I would imagine I'm still, whatever I am after this, I'm going to have the same sense of humor, likes and dislikes.
Right. Exactly.
As when I was alive, I all of a sudden didn't become this ethereal being that no longer has a sense of humor or anything.
That's right. That's correct.
I'm sure we've all experienced. I've had investigations where, like, let's say the three of us are talking, and clearly on an EVP, I'll hear another man's voice and I'll go, nope, it was only me and the two of you in that room at the time. But yet we heard another guy join in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll play it back for people and they'll go, oh, there had to be someone else. I'm like, no, but it was literally, it's that instead of just saying, can you tell me your name?
Right.
I don't mean any harm. The guy's like, yeah, I want to get on the chat too. You know, they sound like they're having a little fun.
Yeah.
I find that in a lot of investigations where, like, as long as you're doing, instead of like doing the canned stuff of, how did you die, knock 3 times, all that stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
just have a normal conversation. There's no
Exactly.
difference in a conversation between the 3 of us, So I concur on that.
So you've been in this for 23 years.
Yes. Getting up there now.
Oh, that's
$29.99.
a long time. That's a long time. Yes.
It's funny because when I started, all of a sudden it just snuck away. You know what I mean? And when I see Dave and I see like Brian Cano and a few others who I knew when I first got into, I'm like, can you believe we've all been doing it this long now? I'm like, Jesus, we're getting old.
Nice. When you're having fun.
It does. Time does fly. Years go quick.
Yeah.
But what also the paranormal has taught me, and life in general as you get older, is to enjoy each moment.
Right.
The present is the most precious time.
Exactly. It's very true.
All of us together tonight, we're not going to get this time to do this again. Have this conversation. So enjoy it to its maximum.
Oh, that's for sure. We enjoy all these podcasts.
Oh, they're a lot of work. So I give you guys, I give you a lot of credit because it's a lot of work. People don't see what it takes to get guests and schedule it and have
behind the scenes.
Yes.
It always looks easy once it's done and the professionals are done with everything. You never see what goes behind it.
Right.
That is true. Yeah, well, especially on my part too, because I live with my daughter and my son-in-law to help with their kids because my son-in-law is always on the road. So she has 4 boys and they can be a holy terror at times. So, yeah. And every time I start a podcast, I always have to come in like once in here now, just hanging out. So I'm them hanging out. But that's good because, they love the paranormal. They love all the spooky stuff, So I have a ghost hunt kit and they're just like, oh, let's try this, the ghost box and all this, cat balls, and they get interested in it. So I'm glad that they're doing that. So, but for 23 years you've been doing this, and you kind of like your passing of your mother inspire you to get into this?
No, my mother actually, here's this strange thing. My family has, it's almost like the elephant man's disease. They have an acoustic neuroma tumors that grow. My brother has one. My niece is actually having surgery on hers. My great grandmother passed away of one. And my mother had them. She didn't die of it, but her brothers, my uncles, did. And it's basically a tumor. It skips like, my sister Sandy passed away from it. My brother has it. My sister Diane and I don't. So it's like out of 4 kids, it'll skip like every other sibling.
Wow.
My nephew has it and my niece have it. And then my other nephews and nieces don't. So, and my son though, I don't have that. I don't carry that genetic code. And so neither will he.
That's good.
My mother used to tell me we were, first off, my father was an alcoholic and left very young. So we would sit and my mother would tell us stories or, read stuff to us. It's a typical childhood in the 60s and 70s. You went out till it was dark with your friends. You rode bikes. We had none of the social media stuff.
We didn't have this.
Right, exactly. Well, my world was about a block big with my friends, or maybe 2 blocks up this way to the school, the baseball field or something. But my mother would tell me a story. And my mother was a 4'11" Italian woman who was very much brick and mortar type person, like scenes believing.
Love Italian women.
I do too.
But she would sit down and she told me a story that when her mother got sick, and she was young, she was like 5. And when her mother got sick, my grandfather, her father, back in the 30s and 40s, she couldn't take care of. They had 7 kids. She couldn't take care of them, so he put all of them in the orphanage, a Catholic orphanage, while she was sick. And when she was having surgeries, and he left them there.
Wow.
And when my grandmother, who I never met, had the last brain surgery, she died.
Mhm.
And my other aunt Stella, my uncle Dominic, and my uncle Joey were older than my mother. Were all back then. They literally did the viewing was in the home.
Yeah.
So my grandmother was laid out in the home, and then they were going to have the funeral procession, and she was going to be buried. So my grandfather came and took the three of them out of the orphanage, left my mother and I think her sister Lucy there.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother she told me, she said, if she was sleeping in the orphanage, and she said in the orphanage, it was a big dormitory room with a lot of beds.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a nun that would sleep in another private area, but almost like an office area across the hall. And all of a sudden she woke up and she saw this woman who she thought was a nun, dressed all in white, but a white, like almost a nun's robe.
Mm-hmm.
But she had a white habit on her head, which my mother was used to the nuns having the black
Right.
habit, little bit of white in the black habit,
Right.
and the rosary. None of the nuns wore white in there. Other than the Mother Superior, she said had like a little bit more of a whiter collar to show that she was. But anyway,
The delineation, yeah.
yeah. My mother said this nun waved her over to her, so my mother got out of the bed and started going toward the woman, but couldn't quite make out the woman. As she got closer, walking, down between the hallway of the beds, the woman was at the doorway. And when she got closer, she tripped and fell and looked up, and the woman was gone.
Oh, wow.
And the nun comes in and goes, Marie in Italian is Mariucci.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, Mariucci, what are you doing out of bed? And she grabs my mother and puts her in bed. My mother tells her what just happened. She said, up, you're dreaming. Stop it. It's enough. So days go by. Her siblings come back to the orphanage.
Mm-hmm.
And she told them what happened, but she described the whole outfit, that it wasn't like a nun's. It was a nun's outfit, but it had little frail things here. And my Aunt Stella was in shock because that's the way their mother was laid out. They laid her in a white dress with frills. She had a little gold necklace on. My mother said she had something shiny. And the reason why she had the white habit on, because they did the brain surgery, they wanted to cover the scar.
Oh.
And my aunt would tell me this story up until her age. They would all tell me like this was the family thing.
Right.
Because my uncle and like everybody was freaked out. And I was like, it was just a family story. Like I didn't at that time look for ghosts or anything. It was like, and I was always like, wow, my mother had this thing happen. And then when I would talk to her about other things, she would go, my mother, like I would say, like when I was growing up, they had What in Search of on with Leonard Nimoy or something. And I would watch shows about aliens. And she would go, you don't believe that stuff, do you? And I go, yeah, Mom. I'm like, but what about your story? That's different. That's different. Okay, that was Mama. That was Mama. I'm like, okay, Mom. I get, but you do understand it's a ghost. Don't talk that way, right away. So that was my first ever, like I was young and then I let it go for many years. My brother worked for Johnson & Johnson and Ghost Hunters' second episode aired. And at that time I was interning. I went to school for special effects makeup. I interned with Dick Smith in Armonk, New York, who did The Exorcist and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the episode where Grant was in the Cashtown Inn and, the picture frame moves and his collar gets tugged. And I said to my brother, if you watch Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula, he used old special effects methods. I said, I could do that with you in a room with a piece of fishing string. And you'll never, if the lighting's right, you'll never know I did it.
Right.
And all I do is once I let go of one side of the fishing string and roll it up, you don't even see the string. And he was like, okay. So he went out to Gettysburg and he went on one of those ghost walks.
Mhm.
And we was Christmas Eve. We're sitting here. We didn't know. And he's showing me pictures of, probably it was dew, but we thought they were orbs. And he goes, I smell gunpowder on the battlefield and they got ghost walks. And I was so fascinated with the second and third episode of Ghost Hunters because I thought you had to be a psychic medium to be able to go ghost hunting. That was all the shows I watched with Leonard Nimoy. They would say renowned psychic so-and-so.
Right.
And they would talk about the haunting. So I didn't think a layman could ever go and do these things.
Right.
Like,
That's true.
I got no gift, unless so. Finally, I went out there with him, and the first time I went out there, I got to be honest with you, we took pictures. A lot of it was explained. I was like, okay, this wasn't that great. The battlefield was amazing, but I didn't catch any ghosts. And the second time I went out there we went like October, and then we went again in April. And in between, I called the guy who owned the Cash Town Inn, and at that time, the new owner, Jeremy, is a nice guy, and I do events with him. But the previous guy lived in Hoboken, New Jersey, and retired and bought the place. And I called him up, and we started talking about the fact of that, I knew Journal Square, Jersey. So yeah, just as a kid, we both knew the same spots. A lot of my relatives were from the Vailsburg section of Newark. They knew a lot of relatives in Hoboken. So he just took to me. So he goes, I'll tell you what, you don't think this place is haunted? I said, I don't know. I said, I could tell you how he did that thing with this jacket. He goes, I'll put you in that room. And he gave me a price. I'm like, I'm not paying I forget back then it was $100. I'm not paying $100 for an old bed and breakfast. And I said, no, that's what you do. He goes, okay, I'll tell you what, come in February. It's the dead season. My wife and I live in the back. And you could stay here for $30.
Wow.
I was like, okay. He goes, and you tell me if it's haunted or not. So we had that planned, but spring comes, and that winter we were going to the Cash Town. So that spring comes, we go out to Gettysburg again. Typical thing. My brother knows it now because he's been there 3 times. So we're driving around. And I bought the original, the gray box milligauss meters. They didn't have any lights or anything. You pressed it short range, twice for long range. Right. And my niece, myself, and her ex-boyfriend, we all went. It was a little family field trip. And, we walked, the town's great. We saw the ghost walks, but the park used to stay open until 10 o'clock at night. So we drove, the sunset, and we're driving around, and my brother's like, where do you want to go now? We were already at the Devil's Den, the bridge, everything. And we pull up to some monument. He parks his car at the base, and we go up to the top of the monument, and it says the something infantry of Connecticut infantry and cavalry, blah, 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 blah. So there were paths leading 2 ways. And he said a lot of times these are horse paths, because people do riding around here too, and sometimes they're reenactors. Okay, so my niece and her boyfriend hung at the car, which was down at the base on the road, and we're on this monument that's on a hill. He went right, I went left. So I'm walking down this dirt path, and I'm just like, the monument just disappeared where I just started to go into the woods, and I hear a whisper. It was literally came close to my ear, but sounded far away. Hey, just a simple hey. Wow. And I'm going to tell you, I was like, I can't believe what I said. My mind's playing tricks. Right. So I literally yelled for my niece. I just stood there. Her and her boyfriend come up, and I go, I swear to God, I heard someone whisper in my ear, hey. And they said, I said, no, it sounded like it was far away, but close at the same time. So she had the milligauss meter. So the 3 of us are standing there, and her boyfriend's standing there. And we said, did you just talk to me? Did you ask me a question? Did you fight the Battle of Gettysburg? Is there any way, could you come near us or anything? And she's holding the meter, and the meter, we're in the woods. The meter gets pegged. It goes all the way up. And we were like, oh my God. And she goes, all right, don't stay near me. She was panicked. She goes, please get away from me. And it stops. So then we realized that it almost seemed like that was intelligent. So her boyfriend goes, can you do it again? And it did it again. And we're like, okay. So now we're standing, okay, can you do anything else? And we heard a knock on the tree. And it wasn't like crumbling leaves. We literally heard like doom, doom, doom on a tree. Well, with that, we hightailed it out of there. We got to the, you know, I came back and I knew what I experienced that people were going to look at, because I never had that. I was in construction sales. So I said, people are going to look at me differently when I tell them. And they're going to look for logical explanation or I'm crazy. And I told certain people, and I said, you know, and my brother and I was like, man, I got to learn more about this stuff. And I read a couple of books. I read like 4 or 5 books on, you know, with the Rhine Institute with psychic ability, how he thought you could externalize the consciousness and all that, how he came up with ESP. And then I read, I forget his name now, Warren, who is a paranormal investigator. He explained basically, you know, how electromagnetic fields work and all this stuff. So then I reached out, I saw Shadowlands in New Jersey. It was a website. And when I got into it, there were only 3 people. There were only 3 people in the entire area of the tri-state area. There was Dave Juliano, David Roundtree, and John Zaffis, who you couldn't get a hold of.
Right. Yeah.
You know, that were, and I didn't know anybody else in New England. I didn't know the Warrens or anybody. I just knew those names. And this was early on with dial-up internet, you know. There wasn't groups. There was one group, I think, that was up in North Jersey. So I emailed Dave, told him the experience I had with you. And I'm going to be honest with you, Dave was about as rude as you can get. He said, the last thing I need is another newbie getting involved in something that he doesn't know anything about.
Wow.
And making a mess of things that I'll have to clean up. So that really got me angry. And I was like, I'm just asking you stuff. But I didn't know at that time, he was thinking that I was going to take on private cases or something. Like I wanted to go. And at that time, I'll be honest, what I was doing was going into old cemeteries.
Right. And
trying to get EVPs, the battlefield, to look for other historic sites. So then I emailed him a question. I caught an EVP and I said, I don't understand how can I pick up a ghost on a recorder? And then he explained it to me. And he said, why don't you come to one of my classes? I said, okay. So I came to the Ghost Hunting 101 class. I introduced myself. And then he gave me his card. And then I bought some equipment and I would go down. At that time, he had the store in Burlington, New Jersey. And people who investigated hung out literally at his front door. They were all, and I think it was her name, Mary something, who's a psychic medium, was his partner at that time at the store.
Mary Louise Brown? Is it Mary Louise Brown?
I don't remember. It's Marty. I'm sorry, Marty. Oh. So I would ask her questions. She would tell me things. I would pick up knowledge, you know, just like you do anything else. How does this piece of equipment work? And then he said, come on back. And then he did the demonology course. So then I had a ton of questions. And I said to him, so he said, listen, he goes, I'm going to tell you. I said to him about the email. And he said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to learn. Because I was like, you know, all of a sudden I started feeling like this is 2 years in. I'm the hotshot now. I know electromagnetic fields. I know how ghosts can grab free floating ions. Do you understand this? And, you know, if an EM, the ripple effect and this and that, do you believe in the stone tape theory? And he goes, listen to me. If you're ever going to go on a case, do no harm. Simply do no harm.
Yeah.
understand you're playing with people's lives.
Right.
That some people, and he gave me a list of questions, and he said, you have to find out they have psychological problems. You should never take a case on that's someone who just lost a loved one.
Right.
You should tell them to go to bereavement counseling or talk to a pastor or somebody. Don't do it, because if you can't fix it, you're going to hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a case that's too involved, where it's something that you feel is out of your wheelhouse, you contact me or somebody who knows more than you.
Right.
So for 3 years, my brother and I were together at that time, and we would just go around to places. And then we went to one historic site, and we said, listen, if you let us do a case study here, and we'll host a ghost hunt for you. And that was pretty much how we got it. It wasn't until year 4 that I actually took on my first private case with my brother. And I had Dave, I mean, I was literally calling him. We did that. He's like, keep a log, do this. And you know, I did, first it was very rigid. Like I did exactly what he did. But I was in sales, so I took the questions a little bit different. And I tell people today, I said, you know, I don't know how you do it, but the one thing that I do, and I've always done, and what Dave told me, he said to me, go into someone's house, whether you have psychic ability or not. Tell them to show you their house as if they're showing your house to sell it. Don't let them tell you where the events are occurring. See what you can feel.
Right.
Because we all have a gift of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
We might not be psychic, but you'd be amazed on. So I would walk through and I'd say, okay. Sometimes I didn't get a feeling on anything, and I would say, and I would write down. I'd say, okay, I walked through your house. I got to be honest with you. It's a lovely home. I'm not a psychic. I'm not a medium. I didn't feel anything. Now, you know, and they would tell me, now tell me what you're going through. You know, if your daughter or anybody in the family was having psychological problems, was being bullied, you know, the whole gamut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What could cause, other than a ghost, what other reasonable reason is there for you, this family, to have these problems?
Right.
You know, not everybody died in a house. Not every house was built on Indian burial grounds. And sometimes, you know, I ran into one case to where literally the girl said she was possessed, and it turned out she had an opioid addiction.
Yeah.
You know, the parents told me she acted differently, and they were like, "Oh, there's something wrong with her," and we just happened to be investigating, and unbeknownst to her, she went out, and the parents, and people don't realize that when you do a private case, I don't know about you, but most of the time, unlike the TV shows, no one's giving me their house overnight.
Right.
And here's the keys. There's a liability thing of where I have to say, take picture of all your valuables, put them away somewhere. We're both going to sign a waiver to protect both of us.
Right.
We're going to take pictures of everything in the room so I didn't damage anything. You and I both have proof of that.
Right.
If you don't want me in certain rooms, I won't go in there. If I violate it, you can come after me. You know? So it's a mutual thing. And usually when I do private cases, it's I tell everybody, it's not one and done. These people become like clients of yours for years sometimes. And the one that case in particular, they kept saying she's moody, she's this, she's that. And I was sitting on the floor in her bedroom, and Krista, the one girl that investigated with us, was sitting there, and she just happened to sit near. We were sitting on the floor, not to sit on her bed. We heard like a rattle, and she shined the flashlight underneath, and we saw these vials with pills. So we were like, the three of us were in the room. We're like, what do we do?
Yeah.
We got to tell them.
Right.
So we came out, and you know, my brother said, you know, I hate to tell you, we don't know what this is, but there's like 4 vials with 3 different people's names on it. And they took it, and then they called us 2 days later, and they said our daughter was going into rehab. And so that one was answered easy. But I had cases to where a case to where I had a person in Island Heights, New Jersey, called us. And it actually, to me, was a funny case because the woman inherited her father's ranch home, but he had the basement decked out like the 1970s with the wood paneling and was a diehard Yankee fan and still had the big TV set downstairs. So her and her kids moved in there with her husband. The kids were petrified. And I first said to her, well, it might be because they're in Grandpa's house. And his house was bigger than what they lived in previously. He wanted them to have it. And I said, and I said to the kids, I said, understand, your grandfather's given this as an inheritance.
Right.
So proud. He wants to give this to you. He wants you to have this backyard. He did this during his life with you always in mind. So there's nothing to be afraid of. And they would say, no, we feel Grandpa at night. And I'm like, well, and we did with her. I said, go to bereavement counseling. She did. A year went by. They said, no, things disappear in the house. Lights turn on by themselves. I hear someone walking around. When you go downstairs, we smell cigar smoke, all these things. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, we'll do an investigation. They've answered. We knew them long enough. So we go there a couple of times.
So obviously,
the one night, John DeMonico, who is from Brooklyn and works for Con Ed, was with my brother and I.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in the kids' room. We got, the stationary at that time. We used to put I don't know if you remember the Sony night shot cameras that had the disc on the side.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Changed the disc, and we had closed TVs, but they were cable ran.
Right.
With a hard drive. So we had that because so we had that all set up, and we had the stationary cameras. So we're in the basement, and I thought I smelled cigar smoke, and I said to my brother, "Do you smell it?" And they were like, "Well, it could be in the wood paneling, and this and that." And I said, "I don't know. I could swear it smelled like someone was smoking right near me."
Mm-hmm.
Then we heard someone walking upstairs. We go upstairs. There's no one upstairs in the living room. We played back. We had the stationary camera. My brother played a quick part of it back. There's nothing. And so we go downstairs, and there was a finished part. Then there was a part of the basement that was just cinder block walls that were painted white that had a big Yankees emblem painted on it, a bar, and then more like shelves where there were paint and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, we go into the bar area, and I said, well, to John DeMonico, I said, man, you must be at home here. And he goes, why? I said, Yankees. You're from Brooklyn. He goes, are you kidding me? Brooklyn Dodgers. My family grew up. We don't like the Yankees. Well, when he said it, every device went off. The REM pods were going off and everything. And it was funny. We played back an EVP later on that you could. He goes, Brooklyn Dodgers. You could hear it get out.
I love it.
So we knew that John was our trigger object.
Right.
We're like, let's test this. So we went, and you know what? After a while, and we did a few investigations. We caught, through an IR camera, we did see a shadow figure near the kids' room. And I'm sure for the same for you. Basically, my job at that point is your dad's here, but your dad's not a scary ghost.
Right.
It's your dad.
Mm-hmm.
He gave you the house. He's still here with you. He loves you.
Yeah.
And that love's eternal. That's and the biggest thing was to convince the kids that it's nothing to be afraid of. Because Hollywood pollutes the movies where, everything is like, it's no blood's coming out of a wall.
Right.
If you see him, you see him. It just means he's checking on you.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And I tell everybody, when I first got into it, most of the cases were like that. It was families and houses that people moved into old homes that were haunted or were not. They were creaking floors or whatever.
Yeah.
Or it was a loved one that was haunting the place. I've only had one case where I thought it was a negative case, and it was two college students that moved at Rutgers University they were going to. They rented like a 3-story old Victorian house. They rented the first floor. They had a kitchen door that just had a hook lock. And when you went to the basement, it had a washer and dryer for everybody on every floor to use. They called us up. They sent us an email. We interviewed them. They were a young couple. They're in college.
Right.
Just living together. And the girl says to me, when I come out in the morning, the kitchen drawers are open. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, how do you know that? And she goes, sometimes I come out in the kitchen drawers and the cellar door is unlocked, wide open.
Oh, wow. So
I'm like, well, is it a wind vortex? Maybe you didn't hook it. When someone closes their door upstairs, it's blowing it open.
Right.
We're trying to. So we did investigations there, and we never got the drawers to open, but I was in the basement, and my brother was in there with me, and we were near the washer and dryer, and we got an EVP when we said, why are you bothering them? This, do you realize, are you even here with us? And it was like a growly, almost not legible voice that said here.
Oh, wow.
And we were dumbfounded. And then we saw like a smoky mist through an IR light go over their bed. And it wasn't orbs. It literally looked like cigarette smoke with no one in the room, but it floated over the bed, where they said at times they felt like someone was pushing on them. So we showed them this stuff. And, I said, I was going to contact Dave. I said, I called Dave and he said, let me give you a word of advice here. I said, sure. He goes, opening drawers? I said, yes, like poltergeist activity. He goes, right. He goes, but here's the thing. When the spirit usually is that strong, it's usually not that good. The intent is not a good intent. When it can physically move stuff, and the boyfriend Chris he had this little room where he played the Xbox, and he would tell me that the games would fall off. He had a glass table where he stacked them. But they were literally like a cat swiping them.
Someone's like swiping them down. Yeah.
Say I literally would watch it, and Dave said to me, "That's a strong spirit, whatever it is, and it's something that you really I don't think you can deal with on your own." So I had him scheduled, and I called him up and I said, "I'm going to bring my mentor out." Who I said he handled. I didn't want to tell him that he was a demonologist because I didn't want to get them scared. I said, "But he will guide us in what's the next steps to take." And all of a sudden they called me up, and I said, is everything okay? And they said, we're moving out. It's a month-to-month lease, and the month is up. And so I said to people, and I tell these stories like at libraries, I said, not everything is the cross came out in the holy water. Some people do say, I'm moving.
Yeah, no, it's true.
I said, I didn't have the audacity, nor would I ever go to the next tenant and say, hi, I'm so-and-so. Do you know this place might have some negative energy attached to it?
Right. Yeah.
True.
But I'm sure for especially for Red and maybe too, I don't know about other groups, whether it be religious beliefs or whatever. My personal, but people say to me, how do you go into certain haunted places? I said, because I feel I have a more positive energy that you can't infringe on. That I'm the bright light in the dark room.
Right.
And whether I say Jesus Christ, God, or a self-awareness, higher power, I said, part of what I've seen in cases that get a little oppressive, it's like the bully in the schoolyard.
Right.
When the bully looks at you, you look down. He realizes you're afraid. Now he comes up to you. You don't stand up to him. Now he takes your lunch money. Now he's taking your lunch money every day. Then after that, now he's ruining your life. I said, it's the same in the spirit realm. If something has that intent, the more ground you give, the more ground it takes, the more
Absolutely.
you can become. The more. So if all I do is move a cup as a ghost, and that freaks you out, well, guess what? I really have you, and I'm going to do this, and now move 2 cups. I own you. I own you. A freaky. where, it really, what I teach my clients that I've dealt with is how to claim your own space back, how to put your own energy, if it's prayer, you want a reverend, I will work with them. I have a few that I work with, but it's really, I have Reiki people I work with and other things, but it's really about, I said, at the end of the day, what you see on TV, there is no holy moment. It's not. Right. It's about your energy and what you're going to do.
Right.
I said, but I also play guitar. I said, and I have a few kids I teach. And I said, if I show you how to cleanse a house, or I show you blessings to say, or how to do things and how to be, it's only as good as you practicing it.
Right. It's very true.
And you don't practice it, it's not going to work. And that's why people come back and they go, it didn't work. Well, no, you were going through emotions.
Yeah. Right.
So I said, I don't go through, I go into places fully aware of the, not dangers, but what I'm accepting in certain places, that there's something here that's either going to be stronger than me. And I just have to be positive to where when I hear that creak, gee, when I feel that my hairs on my back of my neck stand up, you're not going to do anything to me. I'm not here for that. Yeah. And sometimes people don't know, you don't know who you're dealing with or what you're dealing with, whether they don't know how to communicate another way or whatever. And I tell people all the time, even at public ghost hunts, I say, don't use the open door policy. Would you leave your front door unlocked all night long to let anybody walk in? And they go, no. I said, so watch who you're talking to and when you're communicating.
That's correct.
Don't go around saying, use my energy.
Right.
And you don't know who you're talking to.
That's correct. Yeah, that's very true.
I said, you wear a safety belt, not because you're going to have a car accident, in case you have a car accident. Because they go, I shouldn't do this. I said, no, I'm just telling you, you shouldn't be telling something that you can't see anywhere. You can use my energy.
Right.
Yeah.
Nope, that's very true. I mean, that's like, I've seen psychic mediums do the same thing. So it's like, no, sorry. my energy is very valuable.
And that was really what I got from Dave, was a discipline about it. Like, this is the way we're going to do it. Here's the steps in what you do. Dave is more, he believes all, in the Catholic religion is your salvation. Christ is your salvation.
Yeah.
I do for me. That doesn't help a Hasidic family. That wouldn't help a Hindu family.
Right.
But I say to them, your belief mechanism is what's going to save you.
Correct.
Your faith,
Yeah.
And, I haven't dealt with any atheist yet, but, people, I've had this in a library. What if it's an atheist? I'd say, well, at one time you didn't believe in ghosts, and look at where you are now. It's time to find God. It's time to find God, I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, here's proof of it. And I laughed like with my mother when she was alive before she died. She would say to me, you do realize you're talking to yourself in the dark. And I said, but what about the story you told me? That was different. But you walk around these places. Do you really think and I would show her stuff that no one would see. I'd say, because she would come over every Sunday, go, Mom, come here. Tell me what this is. I showed her the smoke going over the bed. Someone was smoking there. I go, there was no one in the room. It's a white mist floating. Oh, come on. Come on. It was like, you know what? I give up.
It's very difficult like my mother was the same way. My mother was I grew up Catholic too, so the same thing, basically being a medium was demonic in the Catholic Church, because there was in the Catholic Church, they do not believe that there are spirits that come back to us. They go to heaven or they go to hell, and that's it. Done deal. They no longer, they're no longer traipsing around planet Earth, period. So it's really, that's the religious belief. Yes, you respect it and you just move on, and that's it. So yeah, totally understand that.
And I've had this discussion. I had it with a reverend, not a priest. But we were talking. He said, "What was it?" I said, "My relatives personally believe I'm talking to demons that are tricking me." That's the way they grew up.
Yeah.
Nope, no spirit. You go to heaven, hell, purgatory, but what you're talking to it's a demon trying to trick you.
Correct.
And he said, well, in the Bible, I said, let me ask you something. And he goes, I said, why would God want to take away free will when he gave it to us? Why all of a sudden do we get into like organized assembly lines once we die?
Yeah.
I said, he goes, well, what do you think? I said, I think there might be some spirits that are stuck, that might have unfinished business, that love the place they were at, whatever it is. I said, I think it's as diverse as the human being is. Correct.
As complex. Correct.
Yeah. I said, so it's not as simple as, oh, this is a residual. I said, there's something. I said, I always, my mother would tell me when my uncle died, I said, I was the only one that went to see him in the hospital. He was dying of lung cancer.
Ooh,
and no one wanted to go see him. My mother said to me, you will regret it for the rest of your life if you don't go see your uncle and say goodbye. So I went, and I was 14. It was very hard on me, ripped me apart. But years later, I understood it.
Yeah.
Because, and I learned, I said, don't ever, when someone's going to pass that you care about, not have the opportunity. And with my mother, before she ever got sick or anything, I always made sure after that I would tell her, because she raised 4 kids by herself, and I would, I love you. I love you because I want you to know. And I say, it doesn't do you any good when the person's in the ground and you go, oh, I wasted these years. I should have told you. I tell people, I said, I don't care if it's a friend, whatever. I just love you. It's not a bad thing.
No, I do it. I do it to Christy every time I sign off. Love you.
I think that we need to get to more of that. We need to get to more of that in the world.
Correct. Yeah. And I genuinely mean it too.
Yes.
You have to genuinely mean it. Don't use it as, a scapegoat.
Right. I say that to my son all the time because his big line is, I'm sorry. I go, don't use sorry. I'm sorry when you don't mean it. Right. It's not Monopoly, a get out of jail free card. Right. It doesn't give you permission to do something else wrong. Right.
Correct.
Yes.
So I had a question for you, Barry. I wanted to see what your thought process was. We ask all of our guests as they come on in the paranormal world, what's your thoughts about the Conjuring house and Jason Hawes taking over it and that whole situation?
I didn't go, but our group, I knew Corey, the other previous owner who bought it.
Before Nuez?
Yeah. And he paid I think $300,000-$400,000 for it. And then she bought it for $1 million something.
Right.
I dealt with her. She wasn't a nice person. That's all I'll say about it. I dealt with her once and once only and called Corey up right afterward. And I disagreed. You get that. I need to stay away from you.
Yeah.
The Conjuring house is a difficult thing for me because it is a piece of history and paranormal history. Right. I don't see how you work it out to where you get all those people from YouTube donating the money along with Jason and then set it up. It's been closed for a year something now.
Right.
I don't know if I know that the injunction for him to buy it with the sister signing the thing saying he could buy, and the other ones, the sister saying, no, he can't, was lifted. So he was able to proceed ahead. But I don't know if he paid an asking price for it, what it was. I would imagine it's going to go for $1.5 million, if not more. Then what does he do? I mean, you have this big mortgage. You're going to have to do repairs. Mm-hmm. And now you have all these people who donated. I don't know how you work. Do you make them shareholders?
Right.
And then how do you, people don't really, how do you sustain? I mean, I put on my post on Paranormal Cares about corporations taking over some of these places and just exorbitant fees for no reason other than they can.
Right. And we discussed that too on our podcast as well, because it's like, when you look at, for instance, just using Ed and Lorraine Warren's house.
Right. Yeah.
The common person is not going to be able to afford that to go in and do an investigation.
Right.
And catering more towards the content creators and like podcaster TikTokers.
Yeah.
No, it's from my standpoint, being in the paranormal world and being a medium, it's disheartening. It's very disheartening because of the fact that you can't get in there. Yeah, exactly. I find the Conjuring House, myself personally, I find that it, in this case, I feel like Jason's got the right idea. That is, he's making it attainable for other people to go in and to learn, in the education part of it. And it's a difference between, like I've always said before, and I'm sure you probably subscribe to as well, there's a difference between a ghost hunter and a paranormal investigator.
Right. Or a researcher. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I agree with you. I would love to see, even a marriage of the two, where, in other words, look, let's say I own an insane asylum, and I say to the two of you, I'd love to have you in, but I got ghost hunters that want to come in every weekend for $90 a person. Right. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to donate half of my year to paranormal research.
Right.
Because you're only going to enrich. So what I want you to do is to come in as a psychic medium, a paranormal investigator. I want to get a couple of historians, because what I want to do is further the field.
Right.
I want to deep dive into why this place would be haunted. What kind of emotional scars on it? Why are there emotional scars on it? So. And that's what you don't see. I think Jason has the right idea. I hope it works for him. Mm-hmm. I think what happened to the Warrens' house is a
disgrace.
It's a disgrace.
Yeah.
And
it's the new Disneyland. You might as well call it Disneyland.
Yeah,
it's an expensive Disneyland.
your question. My question with that is always: is that really what they wanted with that?
Right. Correct.
Because no one knows. We don't know. We don't.
And is that Lorraine Warren rolling over in their graves? I would think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. And I think having, even with Annabelle being moved to Salem, Massachusetts here pretty soon, some of the residents of Salem just doesn't want that there.
Right. Imagine taking.
It's money game. To Matt and Elton, probably.
Right.
Imagine if you could, but that's their items, and their beliefs in those items, that they should be locked up.
Yeah.
Right.
They should be put away. Whether she took them out once in a while or whatever, that's different. She knew it. She handled it. If it's your lying, you know how to treat your lying.
That's true. Yeah. That's correct.
Imagine if someone said, we're going to take some 9/11 artifacts, we're going to take some artifacts from the concentration camps, and we're going to bring them out on tour because the people are gone. Mm-hmm. And that's what you're doing with the older items from the museum. You're bringing them out on tour. Now, I understand who is doing it and stuff, but it's like, where's the common decency?
Right. The respect.
Yeah, the respect. Exactly. There's certain things, like, we all have them. I was left things by my mother that get put away.
Right.
I don't whip them out on, remember this from grandma? I don't do it. I just don't do that.
Right.
You have to give, a certain amount of respect to certain things.
Well, it's the corporate takeovers. I find exactly what you were saying. Isn't Lizzie Borden's house now corporately owned? That's disheartening as well.
4 other properties now. Yeah. And that's, but like
it's another tour trap too, because you get thousands of people that goes there, so it has to be about something besides just the history. It has to be, we want to make money off this, which is
that's the downside. Like you can't. If you buy a place that's haunted, and like we do public ghost hunts for fundraisers now, it's Paranormal Cares. That's what I got rid of a team. Part of the team's still the co-founder's still with me, but the other ones want to do their own thing. I'm like, great, you do your thing. And I just said, I have a lot of friends that are paranormal investigators. I said, let's just start. I'm going to change from New Jersey Paranormal Investigation the Paranormal Cares because people think we're all weirdos. And let's find some local charities. And the historic sites were always I'm doing fundraisers for them. And they were nice enough to say to me, we'll give you one free night to raise money for a charity. It's it's 700, 600, some of the prisons 1,000. But I said, it's good karma for everybody.
Right.
It's the way the world should work. It's positive energy going out there. And, I said, let's put all the egos and all that you get in the paranormal world, put the knives away. Let's go. We're all seeking the same answers. There should never be a fight when we're all seeking the same answers.
I agree. The paranormal field is the most drama-filled, backbiting, stab you type of. I mean, it makes me sick.
It makes me. I tell everybody, they go, "How do you survive in this for so long now?" I said, "I live in a fishbowl."
Yeah.
I said, I stay off of I said, when I see somebody trailing off to something, trying to stir something up, goodbye.
Yeah.
I don't need it. My life's too short to get involved in your whatever on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever you're doing. If that's what makes you feel good, great. But I'm not
airing your dirty laundry on social media. Again, that is, and it seems like, there are people out there I know generally that do that, but it seems like, at least from my experience, that's just what it has become.
It has become, and it's become vicious. It's become vicious.
Yeah, correct. For no reason at all. Again, the whole common thread that we want and need is to be able to see and get evidence as to here and there. What is it like on the other side? It's just, it's mind-boggling, very mind-boggling.
And that's the set, because it would be great to have like you, the two of you, me, and 20 other investigators we don't know.
Right.
And we all sat and had coffee or maybe cake or something. We're just sitting there talking. And we go, "You have that experience too?" "Yeah, I had it here." "Oh, I had it here." Oh, so there's a common denominator with all of us. We know now in the field, this happens almost 80% of the time.
Right.
But we're never going to get to that point, and it's like the last thing you should be worried about. Like a podcast or a YouTube channel should be about interviews and information.
Correct.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
A Facebook, you can give your opinion, but it's not a platform and shouldn't be a platform to, I'm going to wield a sword on people that I don't like.
Right. Correct.
And even in the paranormal field, if you disagree with somebody and don't like them, you have a choice to walk away, but keep your mouth quiet. That's just that. That's not my cup of tea. I'm going on my way.
Right. Exactly.
I've met people that, we just don't mesh for a lot of different reasons. Just like, I don't like sushi. Doesn't make people who like sushi bad people. It's just not me,
Right.
And it's the same thing, I met people that I was at the White Hill Expo, and there were a few TikTokers there, and they're every place they named was a place they rented, and it was over the top, and I was like, okay, that's, and the younger generation enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And I just went, okay, that's not me,
right.
but that's,
but you're not going to sit there
I don't
this
like
and go, oh my God, I got to make a big post about this.
Right. Yeah. What's your name again? Because I need to put you on my Facebook post later on saying, Mike so-and-so claimed this. And it's like, why?
And he's an idiot.
Right? That's just,
Yes.
Yeah. Does that make you a bigger person? Like, I just don't get it.
No, I don't either. So it's nice to have like-minded, it seems like most everybody we talk to is the same, like-minded, has the same thought process. And it's like there needs to be more of us out there to,
That's
do that.
I had probably just one that was kind of like self-centered, maybe.
Yeah.
And but we won't say who it is or anything. No, but but you would get that. You would get that. You get that in every
any
Part
industry.
of the universe of paranormal or whatever.
Right.
You know, you can go into a doctor's waiting room and you'll find one person that's a bit of a jerk.
Right.
No matter what. I've seen them, you know, doctors running 20 minutes late. He didn't deliberately do it. You know, when you get in there, you're going to want your full 20 minutes, right? You're not going to want him to say, well, I'm running behind. I got to get you out of here, you know?
Right, exactly.
So it's like, you know, and so I just take it like, you know, not everybody's for everybody. That's okay. Right. But you know, I laugh. And when I see, I don't do expos any other than the one Dave, because I feel I owe Dave. I don't do any of the other ones. And I laugh because I see some of the bickering that goes on. And I go, you know what? If you put us in a room with the quote unquote normal people, they think we're all crazy, that we're looking for ghosts. So we should all unite just under that we've had the insight and the rare experiences to know that there's something after this.
Right.
And to me, that's a blessing. That's a blessing. People say to me all the time, once they lose someone, they go, so you're a parent. What do you think? I said, I don't know what it is, but I know this is at the end.
Right.
You know? And I'm like, what a blessing, you know, that I've experienced over these years that, and then because they go, well, don't you? I go, no, actually, in my field, I have more questions now than I ever did, because I keep exploring. I keep exploring more and more weird shit happens. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I thought this way and now I'm going this way. You know, I say
I'm a student of the paranormal, and I will always be a student of the paranormal and of mediumship, you know, again, the same thing, you know, not every reading or gallery reading or investigation is the same. So it's, there's twists and turns.
And just to get to the point where you talk through all those years of, I would tell people, you know, this and that and how the instruments work and this and that. And you know, I would say, well, you know, you got to realize when they had these houses, it wasn't, you weren't flipping a house. This was a settlement. This was their, this was it. This was their stock. They, you know, they're generational. I still was saying it and didn't get it. And 2 years ago, I'm getting older. I was feeling down, depressed, really. Yeah. And my son, who's with me, he was hooting and hollering. And sometimes, and I was just like, I can't take anymore. So I literally went outside, and understand, when my mother died, I was ready. I was waiting, even with my sister. I wanted the moment, either in the lucid dream or her to be sitting at the end of my bed. And I was going to be like, Mom, you knew I was listening. And now you used to tell me I was talking to myself in the dark. And yet here you are. You know, I wanted to see her so bad. And I didn't see either one. And I would tell people, you know, with all the investigations, my mother has never come to me. My sister's never come to me. Mm-hmm. I think my sister, because her loved one passed away and she's quite happy. Mm-hmm. But I was feeling really down and I was getting depressed for it was going on for weeks. Mm. And I was just like, man, this is like, it just, you know, when you get in that pity pot, and I was like, I went outside and I'm like, what do I got really left in life? Like, how many years? And, you know, I worked my butt off, and this is it. Yeah. I'm blessed, but that night I didn't feel blessed. Right. And I went outside, it was February and it was a cold night, and I just had to get away from it. And I needed some fresh air, and I'm leaning down, and I was leaning against, we still had lounge chairs that were covered up. Mm-hmm. And I'm leaning against it and the moonlight, and all of a sudden I felt my mother's love. And my mother was 4'11", and when I would tell my mother about whatever it was in life with my job, we would talk in the kitchen, and I would hug her, and she was always up to here on me, and she would pat my back, you know, it's going to be all right, honey. You know, but I would feel that love. And I literally, if I closed my eyes, she was there. I didn't smell her perfume. I just felt my mother's love. Right. And then I realized afterward, I was talking to somebody, I said, you know, that's what carries on. It's our emotion. My mother didn't come to me at the end of my bed because there was no reason to.
Right.
Mother came to her son when her son needed her.
That is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
I said, and that's, so she's always with me. But she's like, I'm not going to do your horse and pony show. I'm going to wait till you get in another jam because you're my son.
Right.
And you make another stupid mistake because I've been watching you make them your whole life. And when you do, I'll be there for you. But that's when I was like, there was my moment. And I said, it was totally different than what I ever thought it was going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and
Another
that's
job is never done, even
right.
through death.
Exactly.
And that's what I wish people would get more of, is that we're, in current society, we're taught that it's such a finality.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's not, and I'm not saying you shouldn't mourn, but you should explore other things.
Yeah.
Because
No,
your loved ones are with you just in a different way.
Right. And, and to your point, which is really interesting too, is, my mom and dad, my brothers don't have the gift. I have the gift. So I'm able to communicate with mom and dad, and not everybody gets to be able to do that. And so, I find myself very blessed and lucky to be able to still have conversations with them. It's not the same as picking up the phone and calling them,
Exactly.
It's filtered a little bit, obviously, but for the most part, what you touched on, the love and the care, the devotion and loyalty, you feel all that as well. So yes. I love that. And that's what I try to tell people is you may not see them, you may not hear them, but you may feel that like cocoon of love. And that's more important than actually seeing them and hearing them.
Yep. And there's times where certain things, for whatever little thing, will go right for me. I go, thanks, Mom.
Yep.
Or I go to my sister, I go, thank you. Thanks for looking out for me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we all share that, we get that experience. It's such a blessing. And that, it's such a shame that in the field you see such negativity when people should be talking about what we're talking about.
Right.
Oh, yeah. That's true. We have a good friend, David Wells, Shared Paranormal. He started a Para-Unity in Michigan a few weeks ago. Was the first one. So I think he's going to do it every year.
Yep.
So, but I think that's something that we probably could use more of.
Yes,
absolutely. And people that really mean it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That I've seen it in my area, say unity, and then but I'm the chief.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not the way it's supposed to work.
Right.
We're a community. The community, everybody's going to have different opinions. Sure, you can have an organizer, but no one should be a power wheeler in this.
Right. Exactly.
No one should be the judge of anybody else.
Well, unity is part of community.
That's right.
So that goes for everything, for everybody. Community is a very powerful thing.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. But Barry, once you plug yourself in, I know you have a website, and I know you do, it said on your website you do some lectures and stuff too. Yep. So plug yourself in for a little bit before we end the show and get everybody out there. Go to his site that's down below, scrolling across the screen. Yep.
And it's still under also New Jersey Paranormal Investigations. You can find us on Paranormal Care on Facebook and Instagram. We put up different topics at different days. Just like I'll sometimes just throw whatever I think out there. And that's what I just want, topic discussions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't attack anybody, but sometimes it turns into, the left against the right. I'm like, no, I'm just putting it out there.
Right.
If the sun didn't come up for 2 days, what do you think will happen? Well, the world will end. No, it won't. Well, it will end. It's just a topic. Like, when the plants die, it's just a topic,
Right.
So
Jeez.
So, you know, we're doing a lot of, we have a busy schedule with some public ghost hunts. We keep them small now with 9 people because I want people to feel that they're part of a paranormal team. I don't want big events.
Nice.
You know, the prisons and stuff we do, like they'll tell us we can allow 50 people. We'll do 29 people, but I'll have like 5 team members there. And what I want is that I tell her, I show them how to do a lot of it, but I want them to free roam and explore. I said, the best thing you can ever do for me is just what happened to me at Gettysburg. Come back to me with your paranormal story, not me listening to an EVP for you. Come back to me and say, you know, something really weird happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I said, because it's life-changing. When you have the experience, it's life-changing.
Yeah. That's very true. Very true. So, but we have to end the stream now. Barry, thank you so much.
Thank you. Both of you guys were great hosts. I really enjoyed myself for the little over an hour. I can talk too much. It's the Italian in me.
No, that's perfect. Everything was exciting and new and wonderful. So thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a really good week and you're having good weather where you are.
105. I'm at 105. I'm in Arizona, so.
Oh, you're in Arizona. Well, we're hitting 90 on Friday.
Woo.
But you know, we have cold winters.
Yeah, I'm in the Midwest, so we're in Iowa. I am. So
did you get a lot of rain
today? Oh, we get humidity like crazy.
Yeah.
So it's almost like Arizona, probably.
I would like Arizona. So we'll all go to Arizona and do the podcast. I'll be your I'll be your resident guest.
Air conditioning.
I'll be your resident guest. That's all.
The East Coast. East Coast is like my thing. I love the East Coast. So.
All right, then you come here and I'll go to Arizona.
There you go.
Bye, Barry. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
It's been a pleasure talking to both of you. Nice meeting both of you. I wish you nothing but the best, and I'm sure your podcast is, and I hope it continues to be a big success for both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you can just hang back a little bit after the we roll the closing.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
And for everybody, subscribe to Within the Cauldron, Behind the Witch's Bell. Subscribe, like, and share out, please. And for everybody tonight, many, many blessings to you. Have a great night.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night.